All right, we move to the 119-pound weight division. A returning state champion, Brett Rechterfing from Wellsville against Todd ODonnell. Brett Rechterfing from Wellsville, 23-0.
We should mention that Verdig is the product of a good summertime freestyle wrestling program. Wellsville, Kansas has traditionally been a basketball town, and they don't have a lot of depth on their wrestling squad, but Verdig wrestles the year around for a Kansas City freestyle club, and he certainly shows his experience. He's about to get the takedown here in the first period.
Ben, I might add, Wellsville is still a basketball town.
Exactly. Well, on a counter move, Todd ODonnell, coming into the tournament from Pleasant Ridge, 25-3, scores 2, and he's out in front, 2-0, a minute and 15 seconds to go in the first period.
Brent Rechterfing, by the way, has not trailed in this tournament, and as a freshman won a state championship, lost a match his freshman year. But he has a chance to be a four-time state champion. And in fact, Ben, your son, Doug DeWell, was a four-time state champion. It is not an easy accomplishment.
We had no idea, Rich, when he was a freshman, that we would get so intense and so involved in the game of wrestling. Now with an escape, it's a match again, 2-1. Verdig trails, but Todd ODonnell with that counter move got the takedown in the first period. We're still in the first period, 55 seconds remaining.
O'Donnell from Pleasant Ridge in the semifinals defeated Van Dyke of St. Francis 9-3 to get to the championship match.
Verdig in the blue and white uniform moves in on a deep single, but Donnell in a position to counter, but Verdig crowds him over. If he can stay in bounds, he scores 2 right on the edge of the mat, and Verdig goes ahead 3-2.
Doing a great job, coming in with a 23-0 mark on the year. And Todd ODonnell, 28-3.
Referee Jim Stanley on the screen showing the boys how to get down in position.
Well, that referee, folks, was a state champion himself in Oberlin, Kansas back in the early 70s, I believe, or late 60s, 69, I think.
And did a little coaching in a town called
Plainville, Kansas.
There you go. Verdig in the blue and white uniform has a 3-2 lead. Gave up the takedown early, came back with an escape and got a takedown of his own. We still have 15 seconds remaining in the first period, and Verdig really is in control at the moment.
Verdig in control, as you see here, and as Ben DeWell has described it, he is the freestyle of freestylers probably in the tournament, certainly one of the best. He's very accustomed to that style.
Well, and he's gone against a lot of good competition, not just in the state of Kansas, but all over the country.
And right now he's in a close match as we go to the second period. We mentioned that team championship. At the outset, we had 4 teams with a possibility. Atwood now has edged up to 101.5 points in the team running. Plainville with 95, Oakley 91. So it's still very, very close, and we'll keep you abreast as we go along on that team championship at 3-2 and 1A.
Verdig with a very aggressive escape now has a 4-2 lead. Todd O'Donnell got the jump on the whistle. It'll be a caution against Green and Todd O'Donnell.
I think O'Donnell thought he had an opportunity to cash in right there.
A minute and 44 to go, second period, and the second period is just underway. Verdig with a 4-2 lead, got the escape, now comes in for a tip, and gets a tip off of the single leg penetration. Oh, he moves in. That's very aggressive for the wrestler in the blue and white uniform, Brent Verdig of Wellsville.
Showed a lot of quickness and a lot of balance on his feet.
He's aggressive. He's been here before, Rich, and he's out in front 6-2. A minute 15 to go, second period.
Comes into the match, as we told you, 23-0. He is knocked off on the way to the championship, Keely Erickson of Ellsworth, then knocked off Wally Raines of Chase County, and knocked off Lyle Geyer in the semifinals from Leota to get to the championship. Meanwhile, O'Donnell defeated Meredith Kinsley, Uphoff of Heston, and Van Dyke of St. Francis.
Verdig working with the bar arm, and the official Jim Stanley stopped the match, potentially dangerous because there was some possibility of the pressure going forward. We have a caution, and it is a penalty point. The second caution on Todd O'Donnell. He jumped the gun, and the point goes on the board for Rick Verdig, and he's out in front 7-2.
Still in the second period here with 50 seconds or so left. And the Wellsville sophomore is on his way to a state championship unless something happens that we might not expect.
All right, he's got Todd O'Donnell has Rick Verdig a little high. He has a chance to come out. Can he score two? On the edge of the mat, he'll score at least one. That should be a reversal standing, and he gets it. Todd O'Donnell isn't ready to quit, so he comes back in and makes a closer match out of it, 7-4.
Yes, O'Donnell with a good move that time near the edge of the mat, and you made an interesting point, Ben. The fact that he did stay with the reversal opportunity instead of giving up. Many kids would have given up in the middle of that and probably ended up with one or nothing.
Rick Verdig comes to the edge of the mat. He needs a little break, a piece of tissue, a slightly bloody lip, but he'll be okay, and the action will start again here shortly.
All right. Well, we mentioned the team championship, and we'll continue to talk about it because it is so close. 4 teams with an opportunity: Atwood, Plainville, Oakley, and Lyons. Lyons has never won a state championship. Oakley hasn't done it since 1973, and 74 rather. Atwood has not done it since 73. Plainville did it a year ago. Mid-Continent League's won the last 2 titles, and Plainville would like to make it 2 in a row for them, 3 in a row for that conference.
Rick Verdig comes out to the center of the circle, takes his position, bottom side in the blue and white uniform. Todd O'Donnell trails 7-4. But O'Donnell will be in a position of control with 20 seconds remaining in the second period.
Had to take care of a little maintenance on the side of the mat over there and get her wiped up.
Rick Verdig on a good set out. He put the pressure back in, comes up standing, but O'Donnell traps the arm, working off to the side. O'Donnell controls, but Rich, he's not in a position to score any points from here.
Those people watching can see that these matches have 2 officials on the mat calling the match, but one of those is the main official, I guess, and in this case, Jim Stanley.
Okay, and time expires. We go into the third period. O'Donnell trails 7-4. He's in the dark uniform, and he'll have bottom position.
Being an old coach, if you're down by 3, is this where you want to start? Bottom side, third period?
Well, I'll tell you, it depends on the moves you've been working with, but I like the escape and the takedown, and this would give him an opportunity. We have a stall warning, and the stall this time goes against Rick Verdig, and so he can't just hang on. He's going to have to try to really be aggressive. O'Donnell has a switch going. He catches Rick Verdig. He's going to score 2 on the reversal. It really tightens up. It's 7-6.
I wonder if Rick Verdig probably is not feeling a little tired and a little drained at this point in time. He appears a little tired.
He's a youngster, and it's emotional going for your second state championship. And remember, son Doug Duell had a problem winning his second championship. You were there, Rich.
I really was. He dropped behind early in the match, substantially, in fact, and had an uphill battle to come back. But it is difficult. Always difficult to repeat.
Rick Verdig shakes it out a little bit. He knows he's a little bit tight on the bottom side, but Todd O'Donnell looks a little bit tired also. 1:21 to go, and O'Donnell still has to score again.
O'Donnell is in the darker uniform on top, white and blue on the bottom. Rick Verdig.
Rick Verdig now comes around with a switch, and O'Donnell counters. A good re-switch counter. Rick Verdig working off the bottom, has a 7-6 lead. Working right on the edge of the mat. If they go out of bounds, there will not be any points scored. 57 seconds remaining, third period. O'Donnell thinking things over, taking his time, coming back to the center.
The thing about Rick Verdig right now is he can't afford to get a stalling warning because he'd give up a point.
That'll tie it up, and he has to be aggressive. Both wrestlers have to be aggressive. They have both been warned for stalling. O'Donnell now to stand up, turns in. It was a good move, but he didn't score. I should say Rick Verdig on the stand-up, the blue and white uniform. O'Donnell riding top side, working with the legs, reaches across, thought he had an idea for a cradle, but he didn't have that on his mind.
Well, we got nearly 36 seconds left in the match. Going to go right down to the wire.
Okay, and now a potentially dangerous situation. Referee Jim Stanley in for a close look. We can see the clock now. We're down to 25 seconds. And O'Donnell still trails. He hasn't made a good aggressive move from the top side. And Rick Verdig content to stay on the bottom. Hold it. We have a stalemate. We do have a stalemate. A good call.
Looked like the coaches in the corner of O'Donnell wanted a stalling warning issued against Rick Verdig. They were hollering rather loudly over there.
I think you're right, Rich, but it's a 50-50 deal now. Rick Verdig turns in, grabs the leg. He's trying to make a move out of it. O'Donnell trying for a banana split, but he doesn't have enough leverage to score. And I think this match is history.
Rick Verdig is going to win his second state championship, 7-6 for Wellsville over Todd O'Donnell. Ben, that was a good match.
It was close. O'Donnell was tight a good deal of the time in the match. He loosened up a little bit in the third period, and Rick Verdig got tight in the third period. That made it close.
Rick Verdig comes away with the championship at 119 pounds for Kansas 3-2-1A. But we will go to the award stand and take a look at the title there. Fourth place at 112 pounds belongs to Jeff Salita from Phillipsburg. The consolation championship went to Chad Gentry of Rossville. The second place finisher at 112 pounds was Aristio Rito, and the champion at 112 pounds for Kansas 3-2-1A from the Atwood Buffaloes, Jeff McIntyre. McIntyre, the champion at 112 pounds.